So first of all, thank you so much, Cyberban, for organizing this event. And it's kind of fascinating how every situation gets the best out of all of us, right? So kudos to all of you for bringing this event together. And when I got the note from Ashwini about this, I was super excited because at Target we do have a fascinating story to share, and we've been doing it in external forums because we've tried and tested a lot of these work. So that's the whole agenda. And so DevSecOps at scale is a story about Target on how we went about transforming ourselves from what we were a few years back to where we are today, right? About me, I'm Naveen. I lead the Target in India's dojo. I'm not sure if most of you heard about the Target dojo. If not, it's an immersive space to engage team members and onboard them onto the Target's agile and engineering ways of working. There's a lot of content in the public press about dojo. I would highly recommend people to just go look up it and then share your perspective of what it is. A bit about Target. Again, most of you would know Target as a retailer, but then just some numbers to kind of give some context of where we are coming from, right? The data says it all. We are the second largest discount retailer in the world. We have 1,800 plus stores. What's interesting for me as a practitioner and also leader of a practice like DevSecOps, Agile, and engineering at Target is we have 350,000 team members worldwide, and we call employees as team members. And that's interesting because any change that we have to do globally to our digital systems in a way will impact one or other of these team members. And that's not really simple because it's a huge amount, right? That kind of gives the scale of challenge that we faced a few years back. Couple more numbers, we did $77 million in sales, and we have about 1.2 million shoppers every day on Target.com. And that's also an interesting fact because just this sheer scale of volume and traffic is paramount important when we look at DevSecOps also at scale. In India, we started in 2005 as a captive center at that point in time. We were a second headquarters. Right now, we are actually full-fledged merged into our Target as a headquarter. We have 3,000 team members working from Bangalore office. It was one Bangalore office 3-4 months back. Now I think it's probably 3,000 different homes across the country. And Target in India's role is mainly about helping Target solve critical business problems. And we also have end-to-end product ownership of certain areas, right? So that's about Target. And kind of connecting that perspective of business to technology is interesting, right? But then technology just doesn't come as a first step. Typically what comes is people say, hey, we got to be agile. And this is a safe India day. So one thing which is given is agile is there, right? I don't think we are debating anything about the effectiveness of agile or why agile is required. So I will not get into the perspective of Target from an agile standpoint. And another personal observation that I have seen when I've spoken to a lot of folks in the industry is many organizations have gone into this transformation journey in an incremental way. I've seen organizations say, hey, let me try agile for like 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters, and let's see what it throws up. And then let me get into engineering, let me get into DevOps, let me get into product later. But at Target, we felt for us to get going, we really have to start everything together, right? So that's why I'm kind of keeping the agile story aside and focusing a bit more on DevOps and also DevSecOps going ahead. And it is a very important aspect of innovation at many organizations, right? Ashwini was joking a while back, in 10 minutes, we probably could have done up the number of builds. And that's the kind of maturity and confidence that we see at organizations like Target. But when I say DevOps, today, fortunately, unfortunately, we all can have our points of view. It just becomes a synonym for tools. And this is again interesting because I was in a chat with one Mr. Patrick Debios. He's known as the father of DevOps, and he coined this term sometime in 2000. And asked him, "Hey Pat, today DevOps is seen as a synonym for tools. What do you think about it?" And his response was actually interesting. He said, "Naveen, when I coined this term, none of these tools existed, right? So for me, it basically, in a way, is a force fit of tools into the DevOps concept, but then that's the reality, which we kind of have to live with." Vicky says a different picture altogether, right? Vicky would say DevOps is a cultural and a professional movement on how we build and operate high velocity organizations and born from practitioners. So nowhere here it is mentioned about tools. And that's the whole intent of how an organization like Target looks at DevOps. Now, every organization, be it small, large, will have their own ways of working through what's important for customers. And similar is the case with Target, right? Now, we are in the retail industry, which means customer is very important for us. So every decision that we make, every product that we conceptualize is completely customer centric. And that's the common term that we hear from everyone today, just that it is really, really difficult to understand what a customer behaviors are, right? And that's the core challenge that we are all after. So we are trying. So our products and services are centered around what a customer needs. We use Agile as a way of working. And when we use Agile, we use it as a literal. We don't use it for what it stands in our industry, right? For us, we want to be Agile, which means agility should be there throughout Target. So we look at it from that point of view. We've tried, tested a lot of frameworks, a lot of solutions, and as with many organizations, we'll always add our flavor to say, hey, this is what kind of works for Target, and let's be open about it. So once a team gets into an Agile way of working, it gives them a flavor of what does it mean to deliver incrementally. But then the aspect of delivering fast is very important. And that's why we look at DevOps, excuse me, as a very important tool to get our products to customers. Just a small fact here. Few years back, the number of deployments we used to do to our stores was probably 2 or 3 in a year, right? And that was good enough 5, 6, 7 years ago, but today that is definitely not good enough. Now today we are on demand, which means if a business decides that, hey, we need this feature and this is in a deployment or delivery backlog, it could go to any store at any point in time. And that's a huge change from where we were to kind of where we've come so far. One thing that's missing here is we spoke about DevOps in length, but where did this DevSecOps come into picture? And I take this conversation again back to Patrick Debios when I spoke to him, and he said, hey, when we said DevOps, we in a way assumed that all the other aspects of engineering are baked into it, right? I mean, in the most simplest of definition, which is also completely incorrect, people say DevOps is development and operations coming together. Even if you assume for a minute that is correct, development includes everything about engineering. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And at Target as well, we realized that we said, hey, when we say development, people only look at functional coding, functional programming. And they assume that a lot of other aspects of programming should be covered by someone else. So that's where this emphasis on DevSecOps came in, totally in the industry, also at Target. And I've seen a lot of passionate security personnel who kind of come to us and said, hey, why should it be DevSecOps? Can't it be SecDevOps? Because security is kind of given importance here. And my response to them is the order does not really matter. The intent is what is important, right? So when we look at a manifesto, and it's kind of ironical every time folks like us hear the term manifesto, our mind naturally goes to the Agile manifesto, and that's the amount of impact that kind of artifact has had on us and our industry, which is which is really fascinating, right? Today, everyone builds their manifesto, which is fine, which is good and bad. No one has copyrighted the term manifesto. So DevSecOps, one of the manifestos kind of stands like this. Now, just to summarize this in totality, and this is how Target also looks at it, is we do not want to see security as an aftermath. We don't want teams to assume that, hey, there's going to be a gatekeeper at the last who's going to validate my code, my product, and is going to certify my security practices around it, right? It's all about bringing it upfront. And how do we do that is the million-dollar question, right? It's easier said than done. It's the same question that we as an industry faced when we said quality should be baked in upfront. It took us a long, long time to make that a reality. I'm not saying it's there yet, but we are on that journey, right? Similarly, DevSecOps is going to take a while because organizations are still learning what does it mean. But for us at Target, considering we are in retail, we deal with customer data, there's going to be payments, the amount of transactions and volume of users we saw. This is important, guys. I mean, we cannot really compromise on this, right? So we said, hey, if we need to look at DevSecOps as a movement, what does it take? A movement, for me personally, actually has two ends to it. There's an end that's going to come from left to right, and there's something that's going to come from right to left. Or we could look at it from top down and then bottoms up, right? It is important that any movement actually hits the balance between both of these dimensions. So in our industry, again, when we say top down, it's about the vision and the cultural fabric that the leadership sets for us, right? So our leadership went about, said, hey, DevSecOps means the intersection of these three amazing dimensions. One is empathy, collaboration, which means can we have teams talking to each other, not just within their team, but outside their teams? The more they talk, the more empathy that they kind of develop, right? And it's all about creating a space where teams can experiment. So we really don't want to penalize teams for their failures, right? Failure is a means for learning something. So Target went about creating an experiential learning space, which gave team members a safe environment to try. Now, this is all great, but what does it mean to me? When I say me, the engineer on the ground. And I did see a reference to the pipeline in a couple of other talks, one with Sundar in the past, earlier today, right? And trust me, the pipeline is very similar to whatever organizations we kind of go, right? It's not going to look different. What will be different is probably the names of the tools that is kind of plugged in here, right? It's a way of migrating code from an engineer's machine to a customer facing environment, period. But what's important here is how do I bake in security practices upfront? And that's the challenge we had. So step one for us was creating awareness about these coding practices to our engineers. You know, it involved a lot of training, workshops, gaming organizations, online sessions, trust me, right? It meant that we bake security as a way of working to engineers. And then when a code is securely done and pushed to a GitHub, we came up with a lot of automated means of validating our code. So doing static analysis, dynamic analysis as a service is powerful. In the past, we've had teams who do this as an aftermath, but here it was a case of saying, hey, the functional engineer can decide when to call these services in their product, which is powerful. Then we looked at binaries. It's important to look at binaries also. So again, Target came up with open source code base, which could scan all the images and also give a perspective. And then of course, penetration testing. This should be done by a specialist team because of the nature of work. But other than this, I think if an organization looks at the other aspects and making it self-service, half their journey towards DevSecOps at scale is going to be resolved. Of this perspective, when I say it's for an engineer, we just need to abstract it to a product team, to a portfolio, to an enterprise. And that's how you successfully scale an implementation of DevSecOps to an organization the size of Target. But it was a challenge. It wasn't so easy. So one thing which as an organization we felt is, hey, there is a need for people like us, people like coaches who should really handle these teams. So we came up with this, uh, we pioneered the thought of a dojo 7, 8 years back, and it's still going strong at Target. There are tons of organizations who started their own dojos today, but Target's dojo kind of stands out because it has lived over a period of time. It has seen technologies, it has seen products kind of coming in and out, right? Um, so just an example before I wind up my talk and take a question or two, provided we have time, is we were looking at, hey, how do we make a static testing platform self-service? And we had a bunch of engineers who came up with an idea and said, hey, this is what engineers need at Target. They quickly showed a product in a hackathon. We took it in the dojo. The whole aspect of dojo is the coaches provide an end-to-end engineering perspective on how to build it right. We really do not, I don't say that we don't care, but literally we are more worried about how do we build it than what is built at the dojo. And now we have an enterprise-wide static analysis platform which engineers can just plug and play, right? So for me, this product in a way defines the cultural fabric at Target, where engineers are at the cusp of making decisions. They are at the, they are at the desk where conversations are triggered, decisions are made, and which gets bubbled up to the leadership. And hitting that right balance is very important for us to sustain an engineering transformation, which is what we are kind of into. We do not want to just push directions from enterprise. We also want to listen to engineers and then get them going together. And it has been proven, at least with Target's case, that that's the right way to look at sustaining any transformation. It could be agile, it could be product, it could be engineering, so on and so forth, right? We have to listen to our foot soldiers on the ground because they are the key on making everything work.